Ladies and gentlemen, restoration is a divine principle woven into the very fabric of life. It speaks to the possibility of renewal, redemption, and the recovery of what has been lost. Each of us at some point faces seasons where we feel depleted, broken, or as though life has robbed us of something precious, whether it be our peace, our joy, our health, our relationships, or even our purpose. But restoration is not just a wish, it is a promise. It is the assurance that no matter how much has been taken, how much has been damaged, or how much has been destroyed, there is a way to recover, rebuild, and even surpass what was lost. To pray for restoration is to acknowledge that we are not self-sufficient. It is a recognition that we need something greater than ourselves to intervene and make us whole again. Restoration is not just about reclaiming what was, it is about stepping into a future that is richer and more abundant than anything we could have imagined. When we pray for restoration, we are not simply asking for things to be returned to the way they were. We are asking for transformation, for a restoration that elevates us beyond our former state. In seeking restoration, the first step is always humility. True prayer begins with the acknowledgement that we cannot fix everything on our own. It is the realization that human effort, though valuable, has its limits. We must come to a place where we surrender our pride, our plans, and our self-reliance. Humility is the foundation of restoration because it opens the door for grace. When we humble ourselves in prayer, we create space for the divine to work, for answers to flow, and for solutions to arise that we could never have conceived on our own. Restoration also requires a clear and bold declaration of faith. When you pray for restoration, you are not simply uttering words, you are making a statement of belief. You are declaring that no matter what has been lost, no matter how great the damage, and no matter how impossible restoration may seem, there is a power greater than the loss. This is a prayer of confidence rooted in the belief that the process of restoration has already begun, even if the evidence is not yet visible. Faith turns your prayer from a cry of desperation into a proclamation of victory. But prayer for restoration is not just about speaking, it is about aligning your heart and mind with the vision of wholeness. It is easy to focus on the pain, the loss, and the brokenness, but true restoration requires a shift in perspective. Instead of dwelling on what has been taken, you must begin to see what is possible. Prayer changes your focus from the problem to the promise. It opens your eyes to new opportunities, new beginnings, and new pathways. It is a reminder that restoration is not bound by human limitations. It operates on a higher plane, one that transcends circumstances and brings about outcomes that defy logic. When you pray for restoration, you must also be prepared to let go. Restoration often requires the release of bitterness, anger, and resentment. It is difficult to receive restoration while holding on to the weight of past hurts. The process of restoration is as much about healing the heart as it is about reclaiming what was lost. Forgiveness is a powerful act that unlocks the flow of restoration in your life. It is not about excusing what happened or forgetting the pain. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of the past so that you can move forward into the fullness of your future. Restoration also demands action. Prayer is not a substitute for effort, it is the foundation for it. When you pray for restoration, you must be willing to take the steps necessary to rebuild. This may mean having difficult conversations, making amends, or working diligently to restore what was broken. Restoration is a partnership between divine intervention and human responsibility. While prayer sets the process in motion, your actions sustain it. You must be willing to put your faith into practice, to move forward even when the path is uncertain, and to trust that every step you take brings you closer to the restoration you seek. Restoration often begins in the unseen. Before you see the tangible evidence of restoration in your life, there is an internal work that must take place. Prayer initiates this process, but it also requires patience. Restoration is rarely instantaneous. It is a journey, one that unfolds step by step. In this waiting, you must hold on to the assurance that the process is working, even when it feels slow or invisible. Waiting is not a passive state, it is an active period of preparation. It is a time to strengthen your faith, to cultivate gratitude, and to align yourself with the vision of restoration. Gratitude is a vital part of praying for restoration. Even as you wait for the full manifestation of restoration, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from what is missing to what is present. It creates a mindset of expectation, a belief that greater things are coming. When you pray for restoration with a heart full of gratitude, you are already stepping into the abundance that restoration brings. Gratitude is not just an expression of thanks, it is a declaration that you trust in the process and the promise of restoration. Restoration is not just about the individual, it is about community. When you pray for restoration, you are also praying for the restoration of relationships, connections, and unity. Life is not lived in isolation, and restoration often requires the mending of broken relationships. This can be one of the most challenging aspects of restoration, as it may involve vulnerability, humility, and a willingness to rebuild trust. But the restoration of relationships brings with it a profound sense of wholeness, a reminder that we are stronger together than we are apart. Praying for restoration also calls you to remember your purpose. Loss and brokenness can cause you to lose sight of who you are and why you are here. Restoration is not just about recovering what was lost, it is about reclaiming your identity, your calling, your vision. Prayer reconnects you to your purpose, reminding you that you are not defined by your losses but by your potential. Restoration is not just about going back to what was, it is about stepping forward into what can be. It is about becoming the person you were always meant to be, shaped and strengthened by the journey of restoration. Restoration is a promise of abundance, but it requires perseverance. There will be moments when the process feels slow, when setbacks arise, or when doubt creeps in. But prayer sustains you through these moments. It is the anchor that keeps you grounded, the light that guides you, and the strength that carries you. Perseverance is the determination to keep moving forward, even when the path is difficult. It is the unwavering belief that restoration is not only possible, but inevitable. In the process of restoration, you may find that what you gain is greater than what you lost. Restoration does not simply return things to their original state, it multiplies, it elevates, and it transforms. This is the beauty of restoration. It exceeds your expectations. What you receive through restoration is often more than you could have imagined, a reflection of the abundant nature of life itself. Prayer opens the door to this abundance, inviting you to step into a future that is richer, fuller, and more meaningful. Praying for restoration is an act of hope. It is the belief that no matter how broken things may seem, they can be made whole again. It is the assurance that loss is not the end, but a chapter in a greater story. Restoration is a journey, one that begins with prayer and unfolds through faith, gratitude, and action. It is a process that transforms not only your circumstances, but also your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Through restoration, you are not only made whole, you are made new. Restoration is more than just a return to what was lost. It is a process of transformation that surpasses the simple act of recovery. When we think of restoration, it is natural to imagine regaining what has been taken, healing what has been broken, or repairing what has been damaged. But true restoration goes deeper. It is not about returning to a previous state, it is about being renewed, elevated, and made better than before. Restoration, in its purest form, is a reflection of abundance. It is a principle that operates not in scarcity but in overflow. What is restored is often greater in value, significance, and purpose than what was originally lost. To grasp the transformative power of restoration, we must first recognize that loss, pain, and setbacks are not the end of the story. They are moments in a larger journey, chapters in a book that has not yet been finished. When we experience loss, it can feel final. It can feel as though the best parts of our lives are behind us, as though the damage is too great to overcome. But restoration teaches us that what was taken can be replaced with something greater, something deeper, and something far more meaningful. Restoration is not confined to the boundaries of human understanding. It transcends logic and operates on a higher plane where the impossible becomes possible. The transformative nature of restoration lies in its ability to change us, not just our circumstances. When something is restored, it is not simply returned to its former state. It is renewed, refreshed, and made whole in a way that reflects growth and progress. This is why restoration often takes time. It is not a quick fix or an instant solution. It is a process that requires patience, perseverance, and faith. During this process, we are shaped and refined. We are taught valuable lessons about resilience, gratitude, and trust. We come to understand that the journey of restoration is as important as the outcome. It is through this journey that we are transformed into stronger, wiser, and more compassionate individuals. One of the most profound aspects of restoration is its ability to multiply. What is restored is often far greater than what was lost. This multiplication is a reminder that restoration is not about returning to what was, but stepping into what can be. It is about stepping into a future that is richer, fuller, and more abundant than the past. This principle of multiplication can be seen in many aspects of life. For example, when relationships are restored, they often become deeper and more meaningful than they were before. When opportunities are restored, they often lead to greater success and fulfillment. When peace is restored, it often brings with it a sense of joy and contentment that surpasses what we previously knew. Restoration also teaches us about the power of perspective. When we experience loss, it is easy to focus on what is missing, but restoration shifts our perspective from lack to abundance. It reminds us that even in the midst of loss, there is potential for growth and renewal. This shift in perspective is transformative because it changes the way we see our circumstances and ourselves. Instead of being defined by what we have lost, we are defined by what we are becoming. Restoration is not just about recovering what was taken, it is about discovering who we are in the process. It is about recognizing that our worth is not tied to our possessions, our achievements, or our relationships, but to our inherent value as individuals. Another aspect of restoration that sets it apart from recovery is its ability to bring about new beginnings. While recovery often focuses on returning to the way things were, restoration opens the door to new opportunities and possibilities. It is a forward-looking process that encourages us to embrace change and growth. This is why restoration often requires letting go of the past. It requires releasing our attachment to what was so that we can make room for what is to come. This act of letting go can be difficult, but it is essential for true restoration to take place. It is through this release that we create space for renewal and transformation. The transformative power of restoration is also evident in its ability to bring healing and wholeness to every area of our lives. When we pray for restoration, we are not just asking for specific things to be restored. We are asking for a holistic renewal that touches every part of our being. This includes our minds, our hearts, our bodies, and our spirits. Restoration is about becoming whole again, not just in one area, but in every area. It is about experiencing a sense of completeness that goes beyond the physical and touches the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of our lives. Restoration is not a linear process. It does not always follow a straight path or a predictable timeline. It often involves detours, delays, and setbacks. But these challenges are not obstacles to restoration, they are part of the process. They are opportunities for growth, learning, and refinement. They teach us to trust the process and to have faith that restoration is taking place even when we cannot see it. This is why patience is such an important aspect of restoration. It requires us to wait, to trust, and to believe that the outcome will be worth the journey. In the process of restoration, we are often surprised by the unexpected blessings that come our way. These blessings remind us that restoration is not limited to what we can imagine. It is not confined by our expectations or our understanding. It operates on a level that exceeds anything we could ask for or think of. This is why restoration is often accompanied by a sense of awe and wonder. It reminds us that there is a power greater than ourselves at work. A power that is capable of bringing about outcomes that surpass our wildest dreams. The transformative nature of restoration also lies in its ability to bring hope. In the midst of loss and brokenness, restoration reminds us that there is always the possibility of renewal. It reminds us that no matter how great the loss, no matter how deep the pain, there is a path forward. This hope is not just wishful thinking, it is a confident expectation that restoration is not only possible but inevitable. It is the belief that the best is yet to come, that the future holds greater things than the past, and that we are being prepared for something extraordinary. Restoration challenges us to embrace a mindset of abundance. It calls us to believe that there is more than enough to go around, that what has been taken can be replaced, and that what is coming is greater than what was. This mindset of abundance is transformative because it changes the way we approach life. It shifts our focus from scarcity to possibility, from fear to faith, and from despair to hope. It reminds us that restoration is not just about what we have, but about who we are becoming in the process. Restoration also requires action. It is not a passive process, but an active one. It calls us to participate in our own renewal, to take steps toward healing and growth. This action may involve making amends, seeking forgiveness, or pursuing opportunities for improvement. It may involve stepping out of our comfort zones, taking risks, or trying new things. Whatever the action, it is an essential part of the restoration process. It is through our actions that we demonstrate our commitment to the process and our belief in the promise of restoration. Ultimately, restoration is a journey of transformation. It is a journey that takes us from loss to abundance, from brokenness to wholeness, and from despair to hope. It is a journey that challenges us to let go of the past, to embrace the present, and to look forward to the future. It is a journey that reminds us of the power of renewal, the beauty of growth, and the promise of abundance. Through restoration, we are not only made whole, we are made new. Prayer is an intimate and powerful connection, a dialogue that transcends the physical and touches the realm of the spiritual. At its core, prayer is not merely a request or a recitation of words. It is an act of surrender, an acknowledgement that we cannot navigate the complexities of life solely by our own strength. It begins with a heart posture of humility and faith, two foundational principles that unlock the transformative power of prayer. These principles, those simple, hold profound significance because they determine the authenticity and depth of our communion. Humility is the starting point of prayer because it acknowledges our limitations. It is a recognition that despite our best efforts, there are circumstances, challenges, and burdens that exceed our capacity to resolve. Humility is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the wisdom to admit that we are not self-sufficient, that we are not in control of everything, and that there is a higher power upon whom we can depend. Humility strips away pride, ego, and the illusion of self-reliance, leaving us in a place of genuine openness and vulnerability. It is in this state that prayer becomes authentic, for there is no pretense, no facade, only the raw and honest admission of our need. When we approach prayer with humility, we are saying, I cannot do this alone. This admission is not a sign of defeat, but a declaration of trust. It is an acknowledgement that our wisdom, resources, and strength are finite, but we have access to an infinite source of guidance, provision, and power. Humility allows us to release the burden of control, to let go of the need to have all the answers, and to rest in the assurance that we are not alone in our struggles. It shifts our focus from ourselves to the one who is greater than us, opening the door for divine intervention. Humility also creates a fertile ground for transformation. When we humble ourselves in prayer, we position our hearts to receive correction, instruction, and insight. We become teachable, willing to listen and learn. Prayer is not just about speaking, it is also about listening. It is about creating space for guidance, wisdom, and revelation to flow into our lives. Humility makes this possible because it quiets the noise of pride and self-importance, allowing us to hear the still, small voice that often carries the answers we seek. Faith, on the other hand, is the engine that propels prayer forward. While humility acknowledges our limitations, faith affirms the limitless possibilities of what can be achieved through prayer. Faith is the confidence that even though we cannot see the outcome, we believe it is possible. It is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith transforms prayer from a mere wish into a powerful declaration. It gives prayer its energy, its focus, and its purpose. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is a deep and abiding trust in the character and promises of the one to whom we pray. It is the conviction that even when circumstances seem impossible, there is a way forward. Faith is what allows us to pray with boldness and expectancy, knowing that our words are not spoken into a void, but heard by a power capable of moving mountains. It is faith that gives us the courage to ask for the impossible, to believe for miracles, and to stand firm in the face of doubt and discouragement. When humility and faith are combined in prayer, they create a powerful synergy. Humility brings us to our knees, and faith lifts our eyes. Humility acknowledges our need, and faith declares that the need will be met. Humility quiets our pride, and faith amplifies our hope. Together they form the foundation of a prayer life that is both authentic and effective. Prayer that begins with humility and faith is transformative because it changes us as much as it changes our circumstances. When we pray with humility, we are reminded of our dependence on something greater than ourselves. This dependence is not a weakness, but a source of strength, for it connects us to a power that is beyond our limitations. When we pray with faith, we are reminded of the boundless possibilities that exist when we align our lives with divine purpose. This alignment shifts our perspective, enabling us to see challenges as opportunities and setbacks as setups for something greater. Such prayer also cultivates gratitude. When we approach prayer with humility, we become more aware of the blessings we have already received. We begin to see the hand of provision and protection that has been at work in our lives, even in ways we may have overlooked. When we pray with faith, we develop an attitude of expectancy, looking forward to the fulfillment of promises yet to come. Gratitude and expectancy together create a powerful posture of praise, which further amplifies the impact of prayer. The act of beginning prayer with humility and faith also strengthens our relationship with the divine. Prayer is not just a transaction, it is a relationship. It is not merely about asking and receiving, but about connecting, communing, and growing closer to the source of all wisdom and power. Humility deepens this relationship by fostering a spirit of reverence and respect. It reminds us of the greatness of the one to whom we pray and the privilege of being able to approach with confidence. Faith deepens this relationship by building trust. Each answered prayer, each moment of guidance, and each instance of provision strengthens our belief and reinforces our connection. Moreover, prayer that begins with humility and faith has a ripple effect that extends beyond the individual. It has the power to impact families, communities, and even nations. When we pray with humility, we become vessels of compassion and empathy, more attuned to the needs of those around us. When we pray with faith, we become catalysts for hope and inspiration, encouraging others to believe in the possibilities of restoration and renewal. Our prayers are not confined to our own lives. They have the power to bring about change in the lives of others as well. Another profound aspect of prayer rooted in humility and faith is its ability to bring peace. Humility allows us to release our burdens, to lay them down, and trust that they are being handled by a power greater than ourselves. This release brings a sense of relief and calm, freeing us from the anxiety and stress of trying to manage everything on our own. Faith, on the other hand, fills us with the assurance that the outcomes we seek are already in motion, even if we cannot see them yet. Together, humility and faith create a sense of inner peace that sustains us through challenges and uncertainties. The transformative power of this kind of prayer also lies in its ability to build resilience. When we approach prayer with humility and faith, we develop a mindset that is not easily shaken by difficulties. Humility reminds us that challenges are a natural part of life and that we are not immune to them. Faith reminds us that challenges are not insurmountable and that there is always a way forward. This combination of acceptance and hope creates a resilience that enables us to face adversity with courage and confidence. Furthermore, prayer that begins with humility and faith aligns us with purpose. It shifts our focus from what we want to what is needed, from our desires to divine will. Humility opens our hearts to guidance, allowing us to discern the path we are meant to take. Faith gives us the courage to walk that path, even when it is uncertain or difficult. This alignment with purpose brings clarity, direction, and fulfillment, enabling us to live lives that are meaningful and impactful. Humility breaks down barriers of pride and self-interest, enabling us to see others with compassion and understanding. Faith unites us in a shared hope and a common belief in the power of restoration and renewal. When we pray with humility and faith, we become bridges of reconciliation, healing relationships, and fostering harmony in our homes, communities, and beyond. Ultimately, prayer that begins with humility and faith is a powerful tool for transformation, not only for ourselves, but for the world around us. It is a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles, that there is a source of strength and guidance available to us at all times. It is an invitation to release our burdens, to embrace hope, and to trust in the promise of renewal. Through humility and faith, we unlock the full potential of prayer, stepping into a process of restoration that touches every area of our lives and brings us closer to the fulfillment of our purpose. Forgiveness is one of the most profound acts of liberation a person can ever undertake. It is not just an act of releasing others from the pain or harm they may have caused. It is also the means by which we unshackle ourselves from the chains of resentment, bitterness, and anger. It is through forgiveness that we reclaim the peace and joy that these emotions so often steal from us. Forgiveness is not about condoning the wrongdoing or minimizing the hurt. It is about freeing our hearts to heal and making room for restoration to take place. In the same way, release is a vital partner to forgiveness, because it is through release that we let go of the burdens we have carried for far too long, allowing space for the new and the abundant to enter our lives. Forgiveness begins with an understanding that holding on to resentment and anger does more harm to ourselves than it does to the person who wronged us. While the person who hurt us may have moved on, or may not even be aware of the depth of our pain, we are left carrying the weight of that experience, reliving it in our minds and hearts. This weight affects every aspect of our lives, clouding our judgment, poisoning our relationships, and robbing us of the peace we deserve. The longer we hold on to these emotions, the more they take root, growing into bitterness that becomes increasingly difficult to uproot. Forgiveness, however, is the antidote. It is the act of deciding that we will no longer allow the pain of the past to dictate the joy of the present or the promise of the future. Forgiveness is not always easy. In fact, it can be one of the most challenging decisions to make, especially when the hurt runs deep or when the offense feels unforgivable. But forgiveness is not about the other person, it is about us. It is about choosing to prioritize our own well-being and freedom over the desire to hold on to anger or seek revenge. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. It is a declaration that we will no longer be prisoners to the actions or words of others, that we will no longer allow our hearts to be consumed by pain or bitterness. It is a way of saying, I value my peace, my joy, and my wholeness too much to let this define me any longer. Forgiveness also requires humility. It requires us to acknowledge that we too are imperfect, that we have made mistakes, and that we have been forgiven by others. This perspective helps us to extend grace, even when it is difficult. It reminds us that forgiveness is not about whether the other person deserves it, but about whether we are willing to let go of the burden we carry. Humility helps us to see forgiveness not as a weakness, but as a strength, as a courageous act that empowers us to move forward. Release, on the other hand, is the act of letting go. While forgiveness addresses the emotional and relational aspects of healing, release deals with the mental and spiritual burdens that often accompany hurt. Release is about surrendering the need to control the outcome, the need for justice, or the need for validation. It is about trusting that there is a higher power at work, one that is capable of bringing about resolution and restoration in ways that we cannot. Release allows us to stop striving, stop holding on, and stop replaying the past in our minds. It gives us permission to rest, to breathe, and to focus on the present moment. Release is also about letting go of the narrative we tell ourselves about the pain we have experienced. So often we hold on to the story of our hurt, replaying it in our minds and sharing it with others, not because we want to heal, but because we want to be validated. While it is important to acknowledge and process our pain, there comes a point when holding on to the narrative does more harm than good. Release is about rewriting that narrative, about shifting from a victim mindset to one of empowerment. It is about deciding that we will no longer be defined by what happened to us, but by how we chose to rise above it. Forgiveness and release are deeply interconnected. Forgiveness is the decision to let go of resentment, and release is the action of letting go of the burden. Together they create a powerful combination that opens the door to healing, restoration, and abundance. When we forgive and release, we make room for the new to enter our lives. We make room for joy, peace, love, and hope. We make room for opportunities and blessings that were previously blocked by the weight of our pain. Forgiveness and release are acts of faith. They are declarations that we trust in the possibility of a better future, even when we cannot yet see it. One of the most profound aspects of forgiveness and release is their ability to transform our relationships. When we hold on to resentment, it creates a barrier between us and others, preventing true intimacy and connection. This barrier does not only affect the person who hurt us, it affects everyone in our lives. Resentment spills over into our interactions, causing us to be guarded, defensive, or distant. Forgiveness breaks down this barrier, allowing us to engage with others from a place of openness and love. Release, in turn, allows us to let go of expectations and grievances, creating space for grace and understanding. Together, forgiveness and release heal not only our hearts, but also our relationships. Forgiveness and release also have a profound impact on our physical and mental health. The stress and tension that come from holding on to anger and resentment take a toll on our bodies and minds, manifesting as anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. When we forgive and release, we experience a sense of lightness and relief, as if a weight has been lifted from our shoulders. This release has tangible benefits, reducing stress, improving our mood, and restoring our overall sense of well-being. Forgiveness and release are acts of self-care, ways of nurturing our bodies and minds as much as our hearts. The process of forgiveness and release also strengthens our spiritual connection. When we forgive, we align ourselves with the principles of love, grace, and mercy. We reflect the divine nature, choosing to act not out of our pain, but out of a higher calling. When we release, we demonstrate our trust in the divine plan, acknowledging that there is a greater purpose at work and that we do not need to carry the burden alone. Forgiveness and release are acts of surrender, ways of saying, I trust that all will be made right, even if I cannot see how. Forgiveness and release also prepare us for restoration. When we hold on to resentment and pain, we block the flow of blessings into our lives. Our hearts are too full of bitterness to receive the abundance that is waiting for us. Forgiveness and release clear the way, making room for restoration to take place. They create a fertile ground for healing, renewal, and growth. They open the door to the possibility of a future that is not defined by the pain of the past, but by the promise of what is to come. Forgiveness and release are not one-time acts, they are ongoing practices. There will be moments when the pain resurfaces, when the memory of the hurt threatens to pull us back into resentment. In these moments, we must choose forgiveness and release again. We must remind ourselves of the freedom and peace that come from letting go and recommit to the process. Forgiveness and release are not about forgetting what happened. They are about choosing not to let what happened control us. Forgiveness and release are also acts of courage. They require us to face our pain head on, to acknowledge the depth of our hurt, and to make the conscious decision to let it go. This is not easy, but it is worth it. Forgiveness and release are acts of love, love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the life we want to create. They are acts of strength, declarations that we will not be defined by our pain, but by our capacity to rise above it. When we forgive and release, we experience a sense of liberation that is unparalleled. We are no longer weighed down by the past, no longer held captive by anger or bitterness. We are free to move forward, to embrace the present, and to build a future filled with hope and possibility. Forgiveness and release are the keys that unlock the door to this freedom. They are the steps that lead us to restoration, to the wholeness and abundance that await us on the other side. Through forgiveness and release, we find the strength to heal, the courage to grow, and the grace to begin again. When you pray, you are not just speaking words into the universe, you are initiating a partnership with divine intention. Prayer is powerful, but it requires something from you beyond the spoken request. It requires action that reflects the sincerity of your faith and the alignment of your life with the thing you are asking for. This is the heart of prayer, action that matches your faith, behavior that supports your belief, and decisions that mirror the vision you are pursuing. Without action, prayer becomes a hollow plea, and without faith, action becomes a futile effort. The two must work together in harmony, creating a rhythm that allows divine intervention to meet human effort. Action is the physical demonstration of faith. When you act in alignment with what you pray for, you are showing that you believe your prayer will be answered. It's not enough to simply hope or wish for things to change. You must live as though you believe change is possible. If you are praying for restoration, for example, your actions should reflect a life that is preparing for that restoration to take place. This means creating space in your heart, mind, and life for the fulfillment of that prayer. It means stepping out of complacency and into intentionality, moving with purpose and confidence toward the outcome you seek. One of the most significant aspects of aligning your actions with your prayer is understanding that you are a co-creator in the process of restoration. Prayer is not about passively waiting for something to happen. It is about actively participating in the unfolding of that promise. When you pray for restoration, you are asking for a rebuilding, a renewal, a return to wholeness. This requires effort on your part, effort to let go of the past, effort to change the habits and behaviors that may have contributed to your loss, and effort to embrace the new opportunities and blessings that restoration brings. Your actions must reflect a willingness to do the work that restoration requires. Aligning your actions with your prayer also means exercising patience and perseverance. Sometimes the answers to our prayers do not come immediately, and it is in these moments that our faith is truly tested. It is easy to pray for something and then give up when we don't see results right away, but true alignment requires consistency. It requires continuing to act in faith, even when the outcome is uncertain. This persistence demonstrates trust not only in the power of prayer, but also in the process of growth and transformation that often accompanies it. It is through this persistence that we show our commitment to the vision we are praying for. Faith-driven action also means being mindful of the choices you make. Every decision you make, no matter how small, either brings you closer to or further away from the fulfillment of your prayer. If you are praying for restoration in your relationships, for example, your actions should reflect a commitment to reconciliation, communication, and love. If you are praying for financial restoration, your actions should demonstrate responsibility, discipline, and wisdom in managing your resources. If you are praying for emotional restoration, your actions should include seeking help, practicing self-care, and surrounding yourself with positivity. Your actions must be intentional and aligned with the outcome you are seeking. Another important aspect of aligning your actions with your prayer is the willingness to let go of what no longer serves you. Restoration often requires us to release the things that are holding us back, whether they are habits, relationships, or mindsets. It is not enough to pray for change while clinging to the very things that are preventing that change from happening. Your actions must reflect a readiness to let go, to create space for the new, and to trust that what is coming is better than what you are leaving behind. This act of release is a demonstration of faith, a declaration that you believe in the possibility of something greater. Alignment also requires humility. When you pray for restoration, you are acknowledging that you cannot do it alone. You are asking for help, for guidance, for intervention. This humility must also be reflected in your actions. It means being willing to learn, to grow, and to change. It means seeking wisdom from others, listening to advice, and being open to new perspectives. It means recognizing that restoration is a process, not an event, and that your actions must align with this process every step of the way. Sometimes aligning your actions with your prayer means taking a step back and reevaluating your priorities. It means asking yourself whether your daily actions are truly supporting the outcome you are seeking, or whether they are creating obstacles. Are you spending your time, energy, and resources in ways that reflect your prayer? Are you surrounding yourself with people and environments that support your vision? Are you making choices that align with the values and goals you are praying for? These are the questions that help you assess whether your actions are truly in alignment with your prayer. Another crucial element of alignment is gratitude. When you pray, your actions should reflect a heart of thankfulness even before the answer to your prayer has been revealed. Gratitude is a powerful force that shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from despair to hope. It is through gratitude that you align yourself with the frequency of what you are praying for, creating an environment of positivity and expectation. When you act with gratitude, you are not only expressing faith in the outcome of your prayer, but also opening yourself up to receive the blessings that come with it. Faith-driven action also means being willing to take risks. Restoration often requires us to step out of our comfort zones, to take bold steps toward the vision we are praying for. It means being willing to face uncertainty and to trust that the path will become clear as we move forward. This kind of action requires courage, resilience, and a deep belief in the power of prayer. It is through these bold steps that we demonstrate our commitment to the vision we are seeking, and it is often in these moments of courage that we experience the greatest breakthroughs. Aligning your actions with your prayer also means being prepared for the unexpected. Sometimes the answers to our prayers come in ways we do not anticipate, and our actions must be flexible enough to adapt to these new opportunities. This requires a mindset of openness and curiosity, a willingness to see challenges as opportunities, and to embrace the unknown with faith. It means trusting that the path to restoration may not look the way we imagine, but that it is still leading us to where we need to be. Another important aspect of alignment is self-discipline. When you pray for something, your actions must reflect the level of commitment and discipline that supports the fulfillment of that prayer. This means staying focused on your goals, avoiding distractions, and making sacrifices when necessary. It means being intentional about how you spend your time and energy, prioritizing the things that truly matter, and staying true to the vision you are praying for. Discipline is the bridge between intention and outcome, and it is through disciplined action that we bring our prayers to life. Finally, aligning your actions with your prayer means believing in your own worthiness. It means recognizing that you are deserving of the restoration you are seeking and acting in ways that reflect this belief. It means treating yourself with kindness, respect, and love, and surrounding yourself with people who uplift and support you. It means stepping into your power, owning your worth, and living as though the restoration you are praying for is already on its way. When you believe in your own worthiness, your actions naturally align with the vision you are pursuing, creating a powerful synergy between your prayer and your life. Gratitude is the invisible force that drives the engine of transformation. It is not merely a feeling or a polite response to blessings received. It is a posture, a way of being, and a spiritual principle that has the power to shift circumstances, open doors, and multiply what you already have. Gratitude fuels the process of restoration because it aligns your heart with abundance, refocuses your mind on possibilities, and creates an atmosphere of receptivity to blessings. It is not an afterthought, but an essential part of the journey. Gratitude has the unique ability to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It keeps you grounded in faith, even when the evidence of restoration has yet to fully manifest. When you approach life with gratitude, you cultivate a mindset that sees beyond current circumstances. Even when faced with loss, challenges, or setbacks, gratitude enables you to recognize the blessings that remain. This perspective is not about denying the pain or ignoring the reality of hardship, but about choosing to see the good that exists in the midst of it. Gratitude does not require everything to be perfect. It flourishes even in imperfection. It is the decision to acknowledge what is working, what has been preserved, and what is possible. This simple yet profound shift in focus changes your energy, your attitude, and ultimately your outcomes. Gratitude is powerful because it is rooted in acknowledgement. It is the act of pausing to recognize the gifts, opportunities, and lessons that life has presented. In moments of loss, it can be tempting to focus solely on what has been taken, but gratitude redirects your attention to what is still available. It reminds you that even in seasons of lack, there is something to be thankful for, a lesson learned, a moment of grace, a new perspective gained. Gratitude shifts the narrative from one of despair to one of hope. It reinforces the belief that restoration is not only possible, but already underway. One of the most transformative aspects of gratitude is its ability to amplify what you already have. When you give thanks for what is present in your life, no matter how small, you create space for more. Gratitude is like a magnifying glass. It enlarges and highlights the blessings in your life, making them more visible and significant. This is not a matter of magical thinking, but a reflection of the way gratitude changes your mindset. When you focus on what you are grateful for, you naturally begin to notice more things to be thankful for. This creates a cycle of positivity and abundance that fuels the process of restoration. Gratitude also shifts the energy with which you approach life. When you pray for restoration and pair that prayer with gratitude, you are operating from a place of faith and expectation rather than fear and lack. Gratitude says, I trust that what I need is on its way. It is an expression of confidence in the process and the provider. This trust is essential because it keeps you moving forward even when the road is uncertain. Gratitude provides the emotional and spiritual stamina needed to stay the course. It reminds you that progress is being made, even if it is not immediately visible. Gratitude is an active process, not a passive one. It requires intentionality and practice, especially in difficult seasons. It is easy to feel grateful when everything is going well, but the true power of gratitude is revealed in moments of struggle. When you can look at a situation that seems broken and still find something to be thankful for, you are exercising a level of faith and resilience that is transformative. This kind of gratitude is not dependent on external circumstances, it comes from within. It is a declaration that your peace and joy are not dictated by what is happening around you, but by the perspective you choose to hold. Gratitude fuels restoration by keeping you connected to the source of your blessings. When you express gratitude, you are acknowledging the presence of grace in your life. This acknowledgement deepens your relationship with that grace, making it more tangible and accessible. Gratitude is a form of alignment. It brings your heart, mind, and spirit into harmony with the flow of abundance. When you are aligned in this way, you become more receptive to the opportunities, insights, and resources that support the process of restoration. Gratitude opens the door for blessings to enter because it signals that you are ready to receive. In the context of prayer, gratitude is both the foundation and the response. It is the starting point from which you approach your requests, and it is the natural outpouring when those requests are fulfilled. Gratitude is not reserved for the end of the process. It is a constant companion along the way. When you pray for restoration, you do so with a grateful heart, trusting that the answer is already unfolding. This posture of gratitude transforms your prayers from desperate pleas into confident declarations. It shifts the energy of your prayer life, making it a source of empowerment and encouragement. Gratitude also fosters patience and perspective. Restoration is often a process that unfolds over time, and it can be easy to grow weary or impatient. Gratitude keeps you grounded in the present moment, reminding you of the progress that has already been made. It encourages you to celebrate small victories and milestones along the way. Each step forward, no matter how small, is an opportunity to give thanks. This practice of celebrating progress fuels your motivation and keeps you focused on the bigger picture. Gratitude transforms waiting from a period of frustration into a time of growth and reflection. The practice of gratitude also strengthens your emotional resilience. When you cultivate a grateful heart, you are better equipped to navigate challenges and setbacks. Gratitude provides a buffer against negativity, helping you maintain a positive outlook even in difficult circumstances. It acts as a shield against despair, reminding you that there is always something to be hopeful for. This resilience is essential in the process of restoration, which often requires perseverance and determination. Gratitude fuels your ability to keep going even when the path is difficult. Gratitude is contagious. When you express gratitude, you inspire others to do the same. Your attitude of thankfulness creates a ripple effect, spreading positivity and encouragement to those around you. This collective energy of gratitude can be a powerful force for restoration, not only in your life but in your community. When you share your gratitude, you contribute to an environment that fosters growth, healing, and renewal. This communal aspect of gratitude highlights its transformative power. It is not only a personal practice, but a catalyst for broader change.